a lot of people here have a lot of passion and a lot of, we do a lot of projects, but I really this year want to encourage members, new members to really look at their passion and let us help you make that your spark and let us try new things and bring new things to the club. We are always looking for new projects, and we really do want to focus on member projects because we get a lot of, especially in international. Thank you, Kelly, and for going looking at all the projects we get from other clubs. But we really want to see if you guys have a passion and we can make that to fruition. Hi. Are you guys? We have a couple more guests today too. Thank you. All right. So here is my Rotary rundown. As you know, I sent out the Area 8 events that are going on, and I'd like to make sure you guys, I'll do that when Marianne sends it to me. Thank you. I think it's really important to support other clubs, and hopefully they'll support us as well. So tomorrow we have Conifer Fest at, it's Our Lady of the Pines in Conifer. I believe our Rotary Wildfire Ready truck will be there. Woo, all right, Lori and Pete. And then also tomorrow is the triple bypass that I know some people are volunteering for. Michelle Vanax has to get up at 4 in the morning to get people going. Yeah. Also this weekend is the Gilpin County Fair. So Peak to Peak Rotary is selling peaches there. If you want to go to the fair, that would be fun. July 14th is the Andy Smith Golf Tournament at Highwan. I know that's from Mountain Foothills, and some people have signed up. It sounds like the other day I ran into someone and they said they have about 92 people playing. So probably still time to get in on that. August 6th is our first Rowdy Rotarians for this year, and we're going to do it at the Lake House. There was a concert that night, and so we'll have an area that we can all gather there. So on August 8th, we will be dark. So mark your calendars for that. August 14th is the last day to buy conifer peaches from their Rotary, and I did send out a sign-up sheet for that. They do have a link, so please make sure that you go on. I did ask, and I haven't gotten an answer yet, if they're going to bring them to Evergreen or if we have to go to Conifer. So I'll let you guys know about that. And then the 23rd of August is Christian Ervik Memorial Scholarship Pickleball Tournament. So Gary said that he'd be getting something out soon because I know all the pickleballers here want to be playing and want to get in there and make sure we get registered. And then lastly, October 11th, I know it seems like it's far away, but it is not, is our district conference. And Mindy is the chair of that this year. So we definitely want to make sure that we go and support her. All righty, that's a lot going on. So nobody should be just sitting at home. Whoops. Okay, today I have a sparkle that inspires, and I'm sure you guys all know Jenny Motion. Jenny, please come up. This is Jenny after the Freedom Run, and she actually was first in her class again. You inspire us. You inspired me because I walked it, and so I ran it, and she was a little disappointed. She was what, a minute?
I was a minute longer this year than I was last year. And my grandson said, Nana, I don't know why you're so proud because you're only racing against 3 old ladies. But my response was, and here's my ego jumping out, I did place 365 out of a sea of 700 people.
That was my first Freedom Run, and it was really fun. So thank you to Mount Evans for putting that on. All right, we have a new member induction. Kay. Oh, there you are. And Matt.
And Chris, this is it.
Oh, yeah. Chris, it's good to see you. I thought you were on out.
I've been on for 3 weeks. Yeah, back bus. Take this.
Yeah, this is Good morning, everyone. Is it on?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a little induction talk. Nat, it is a great pleasure on behalf of the Board of Directors and members of the Rotary Club of Evergreen to welcome you as a member. We welcome you not only for the fine fellowship we will share, but also for your dedication to the community. Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and the election of good men and women to public office. Rotary is not a charitable organization, yet its activities exemplify the charity and the sacrifices that one should expect from people who believe that they have a responsibility to help others. Rotary is not a religious organization, but is built on those eternal principles that have served as the moral compass for people throughout the ages. Finally, Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to uphold the highest professional standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and international peace can be achieved when people unite under the banner of service. You, Matt, have been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Evergreen because your fellow members believe in you. In the community, you represent the character and service of the club. We accept you as a member and welcome your committee. Fellow Rotarians, I have the pleasure of presenting to you our newest Rotarian. Just quickly, thank you, Chris, for being his mentor. And then Matt will share just a little background on himself.
Very brief. I don't think I need a microphone. I need a microphone. I do need a microphone. Here we go. Lesson one, you always. Thank you. Lesson learned. It's my pleasure to be here. 35 years ago, I was a
Little farther away.
welcome. Thank you. 35 years ago, I was a Rotary Youth Exchange student from my Buffalo, New York Rotary Club to the club in Slagelse, Denmark. And I had pleasure of spending that year with Rotarians and participating in the activities for that club. And I made a commitment at that point that when I found my forever home and we settled in, that I would like to participate in the Rotary community. And so I'm pleasure to be here. My family moved up from Denver in mid-January. I have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old boy. I own a roofing company based in Lakewood, and we're looking forward to integrating into Evergreen and making a commitment here. So I appreciate it.
All right. All right. We are going to do Happy Bucks. So where's the Happy Bucks crew? All right. For all you new members, guests, Happy Bucks are, you can give $1 to $1,000. We don't care. Anyway, if it's just something you'd like to announce, something you're excited about, and please just raise your hand and our crew will come around and collect your money. And at the end, remember when somebody says something, we will say, Thank you, Richard. All right.
All right. Busy.
Okay, you know I like to play golf.
What?
I know you're surprised. Anyway, I got a chance to play in the tournament down at the Country Club of Colorado Springs yesterday. So never played it, so I had a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have 4 happy bucks. One for each decade I've been married to my husband Pat, celebrated our 40th anniversary, took whole family, all of us up to Steamboat for the 4th of July. And the kids had all so good. So yeah, we had a great time and it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, 40 bucks in the store.
Okay, wait a minute, I have one over here.
Okay, I am happy because a week ago, I spent a week in Yosemite National Park. We have been doing this camping with 100 friends for the last 35 years. It's a group from a private high school we started in California, but my children joined us. They haven't been for several years, and my son, when he first went to Yosemite, was 9 months old and was a dirt ball at the end. They're my daughter's 1-year-old and my son's 1-year-old and the 3-year-old. They all were dirt balls. They had the time of their life. It was an amazing experience.
Thank you, Renee. All right. Just a minute, Marcia. Doug?
Doesn't seem to be working.
Oh.
It's the microphone. All right. Yell it up. Someone had a 40th. All right. I want to tell you, Mary and I are celebrating our 6-month wedding.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, well, along that same line, I am happy because Rich is leaving tomorrow for his wedding week.
Yeah.
My granddaughter.
My granddaughter, Amelia Pennell, is on her way this morning to RILA training in Fort Collins. This group has supported Amelia for many years, for young RILA, old RILA, whatever it's called. Last year she was a counselor, and this year she's I think it's called a senior counselor, correct, Bill? Sure. I'm very proud of her. I hope they all visit RILA in this one.
All right, great.
Well, I want you to know I just celebrated my 95th birthday, and well, I've done it twice now. Celebrating, and I want to give money. Anyone else wants to do a third?
Thank you, Marcia. Oh, we got lots.
Lots.
Here's $20 happy bucks for celebrating Erica's first day as president.
Thanks.
Well, you kind of stole mine. Here's $20. They're celebrating Mindy's time. I'm celebrating 35 years.
Wow. And don't forget, Scott is president-elect.
Yes.
Actually.
We're here.
Evergreen Rotary, because you people were so outstanding. I had told our 12-year-old granddaughter, who many of you met at the changing of the guard, Elliot, she had such a great time. but you were so gracious and kind and thoughtful and loving towards her. So I just wanted to extend my love to you guys for the way you treated my granddaughter. Thank you.
Got two happy bucks, apparently not as beloved as these books are, one for Mindy's service and one for Erica's service, so thank you very much for being.
I have one happy buck because this weekend, all of my volunteer slots are full. We're going over to Connor Fest with the Rotary Wildfire Ready, so thank you everyone who's coming.
Happy Bucks, we spent a week at the beach with 35 relatives, extended relatives, cousins, grandkids. It's great. And then tonight we're going up to my family, 14 of us are going up to a camp, to one of the huts.
Wow, nice. I've got it. Okay, excuse that. Doesn't want to hear my song.
Apparently you guys have heard me talk enough last year. I've got 6 happy bucks because we leave for Africa in 6 days with my husband and son, so.
All right, you guys. Oh, we got a couple more.
I'm just really happy to be here and I am celebrating 30 years of friendship with Marcia, who I met on Buster Buzz Camp in Winter Park.
We welcomed our third grandson into the world last week, so we're really happy.
Congratulations.
I've got a happy buck that I talked Kathy into taking some time off from work.
All right, does anybody in Zoom land have any happy bucks? Maybe.
Hearing none?
Yes, yes, no, they don't.
No.
We're good.
Easy there.
People.
All right, well, I appreciate you guys and that's a lot of good things going on, so thank you very much. And now we are going to celebrate Marcia's birthday and all the July birthdays. So let's hear it. We have Marcia, July 5th. Happy birthday. We have Brenda, who's in the back, July 7th. Then we have Ron, who is right there. Ron. Preston, I don't think Preston's here today. We have Mary Sharon in the back. Happy birthday, Mary. Okay, we also have Michael Thomas, who is over there as well. Jack, you can serve it up. Sue Brown. Sue is over here.
Sue.
Stay back there, Todd, because we have Judy right in front of you.
Stay, stay.
Stay. We have Tom Johnson right back there, Jack. Happy birthday, Tom.
And
We have myself. Long birthday. And then Eric, and I don't know that he comes to meetings anymore, but he is a member as well. So happy birthday to all of the July babies. I know somebody said they don't like to sing anymore, so we'll do cupcakes instead. We're fine. All right, now we have anniversaries. Oh, wait. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, so look at these anniversaries. This is so exciting. Joan Spalding, 34 years. Tamara Perkins, I know she wasn't gonna be here, 28 years.
Wow.
And we have Bill Manning and Jamie Myers on the same day, 24 years. I know. All right, and Sean Olson is 4 years. I don't think Sean's here. And then Chris, where's Chris? There's Chris, 1 year. Yeah. And for those of you, Chris has been here 1 year and he's on our speakers board. So thank you, Chris, for volunteering and on the recycling day committee. So There's still room for all the other new members. If you haven't joined the committee, we still have room for you. But thank you guys for being here as long as you have. That's really exciting. All right, general announcement. Please remember to state your name. Jen is our scribe today and she's on Zoom, so we want to make sure. All right. All right, as everybody's coming up here, go on both sides. Bill, what are you doing here?
We've all been wondering.
Mom, he's being mean to me again.
Alan, take a
Alan's
seat.
being mean again.
I don't know if we'll get to your
You know,
announcement.
I was just coming up to get more quiche.
Really?
Really?
No, I mean, what is your Rotary future? You've been here 24 years. What are you gonna do for your Rotary future?
That's kind of hard to say. We got a lot of people in the audience want to be in this. Okay. Sorry. Excuse me.
No, what's your Rotary future?
My Rotary, well, that's hard to say.
You need to pick something.
Pick something.
Bill. Excuse me, there's something important we need to talk about.
Mr. Visiak.
Bill,
Mr. Visiak.
Bill, come with me. Something very important we need to talk about. I have just one word for you, just one word,
Yes, sir.
plastics.
Exactly how do you mean?
Bill, there's a great future in plastics. Well, will you do that for me?
Yes, I will.
Then I have 4 more words for that. What gives you hope? Oh. Sir, that's enough. End scene.
Feel like there's a Simon and Garfunkel song coming on here any minute now. Hey, you know what? We are talking about plastics. Very exciting here in town. As you saw, we were all collecting out here. We filled up a carload there. So Mandy, we've taken over for Mandy, who did a fantastic job. She's moved on to California. And so to put it in perspective here, I need a little help from the audience here. So Todd, I need you to stand up. Tim, I need you to stand up. Gary, I need you to stand up. 3 of you guys, stand up. Little help. So this is how much plastic it takes to get a bench. Okay? This is, wait, hold on. I think I might be a little bit short here. Hold on, Marcia, I need to have you stand up. Okay, and now please stand right there. And so the cool part is Mandy did a lot of work and she's already collected a whole lot of pounds for this already here and to get to our bench. So right now, the 3 of you guys can sit down. She's already collected this much plastic. You can sit down now. All we have left is this much plastic. This is it. This is not much more plastic. This is my girlfriend. And so that's all we need. And so keep working it, keep bringing it in, and it'll all be good. And again, thank you all for bringing that today. We'll be out there the first Friday of every month there, and I'm going to pass this on. I'll be quick.
How many got an email from me this week through Club Runner?
Yeah.
Okay, the rest of you, you need to sign up in Club Runner. Where's my whackers? Where's my whackers? There we go, the same 3 plastic bags. Is that all we got? Preston's gonna be there too. So a couple of announcements. You talk about new projects. We're going over right after this meeting to Kevin and Christy's house to weed whack. If you can grab a weed whacker and come over, they need a whole bunch of help. If you want to see me after the meeting, I've got updates on Kevin. And the last thing is Brenda Davis has sent out the meal train again for Christy going. So if you can provide one extra meal out of something over the next 2 months, is that how long it is, Brenda? 2 months? Please do. They're struggling a lot, and I'll fill you in privately if you'd like.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have two announcements. The first and most important is I have two guests here from Taiwan. They used to be in the Rotary, they've gotten Rotary involved so much anymore, but Yishan and Ming Song. So say hi to them. And if, as you probably know, next year's international conference will be in Taipei, in Taiwan. So if you're interested in learning anything today about Taiwan, run over and catch up with them and say hi. Then the other announcement is that the Youth Services Committee will be meeting right afterwards. So come on, and especially the people that are already officially on the meeting, on the committee. So I look forward to seeing you.
What's your name?
Oh, I was saying that at the beginning and I forgot. Where am I? What am I doing? Judy Constantine. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Miller. I'm the Executive Director here at CAE, and Cliff has the announcement. I'm just doing my 6-month check-in with all of you. We survived January through June together, and I can't tell you how grateful we are to have you here almost every week. When I'm not in this room, I sit in my office and I soak up this amazing energy. I just want you all to know you have wonderful, wonderful advocates in this group. Alan Rubin and Russ, you need to thank them for all of their hard work on the IT, making this go. Chris Davis coming to me asking about smaller tables so we can fit even more bodies in here. So please know how much joy you bring to this building every week and how grateful we are to have you here. And now Cliff has the official announcement.
I'm supposed to follow that?
Yeah.
I'm Cliff Bowron. I know maybe 25% of the people in this room, but the reason I'm here, along with the new president of Center for the Arts Evergreen, is just ask to invite any volunteers for Summerfest, which will be next weekend. That's a week from tomorrow. And it'll be the 45th Summerfest. A lot of years. If you go to the Center for the Arts website, you drop down an inch and you'll see a volunteer sign up, and there's so many positions open from parking to my specialty, pouring alcohol. So I invite you all to join with us.
That's it. Thank you.
Richard Ayler, Chair of the ECHO Food Drive. Just a reminder that we will be making collections next week for the food drive. So bring food and other items. I'll send an email with information on that. And thank you to those of you that give gift cards, because that's really helpful. So if you don't have time to get food, grab a gift card when you're at the grocery store. Say Point King Supers in particular. And Jack will be making collections because this time next week I'll be on my honeymoon in Italy. So.
Hi, everybody. Kelly, International Services Committee. First of all, it's great to be able to walk up here all by myself. So this is I got two announcements to make. The first one is for the International Services Committee. We're back up and running. Our first meeting will be August 20th, 6:30 p.m. And we're meeting at least the first part of this year at Evergreen Fire Station number 2, just around the corner. For those of you who have any interest in the International Services Committee, this is where we listen to different groups, both within our own Rotary Club and outside Rotary Club, and how to fund for funding requests for the money that we've generated through different things. This is a great opportunity to see where we're spending our money. On the meeting in August, we've already got 3 projects that will be presented to us, so it should be pretty good. The other thing, Erica, I'd like you to add to your calendar October 25th. That's the WASH Symposium. I'll have more to you next month. We've got a wonderful program that is being put together with a lot of international WASH, and for those who don't know what WASH is, that's water, sanitation, and hygiene But it's going to be a great afternoon or a great day. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Yeah. Yes.
Look, somebody's having a heart attack.
Everybody's coming for you.
That was brilliant. Jennifer Herrick, how many of you would know what to do right now if somebody had a heart attack? Immediately, hands up. Oh, how many of you would know what to do if that truly was happening?
Get the AEP.
Okay, that's not really a lot of people. So I'm on the speakers committee, and February 13th, the fire department has offered to do a class for us after our meeting. It would be $25 a person, and they just don't have time to do a full CPR class here during the meeting. And so I need to know how many people would possibly be interested to go from here to the fire department to take a CPR class.
We can put it when?
February 13th.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so how many people? Just real quick, raise hands. We need more.
It's okay.
More. Okay, thank you.
We can put it in the minutes and then you guys can reach out to Jennifer. We have one more announcement, then we'll get to her.
Hi, Karen Allman, Evans Hospice. I just wanted to, one quick announcement. Thank you so much to this club, the Community Service Grant to support Freedom Run. And I also want to say a quick shout out to Chris and to Laurie for getting these wildfire ready evacuation checklist. Evergreen Fire comes out with their tower truck and does the big water shower, whatever you call the kids really love it. But this went into 500 of our goodie bags. So I just want to let you know, Evergreen Fire wildfire ready. Thank you.
Unfortunate, today, unfortunately, the time is short, so we're gonna see how this happens. I'd like to introduce Alan Horowitz, who is a board member with me on Mount Evans Hospice. He has an unusual career. He started as an RN and then as a respiratory therapist, then an RN, and then went to law school. And he's been on the board. His interest in law is actually healthcare matters. He's been very much involved in this medical assistance in dying, and he's going to present that project today. By the way, he's a prospective member of this club. He lives in Kittredge and he just announced his retirement.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here, and as Ted said, I have a fair amount of material, so I'll talk fast. I will be available later if anybody has any questions, but first of all, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here and speak to you. Probably talking about end-of-life care is not the most cheerful way to start the day, but it is important and something we all of us, regardless of our age or our station in life, something we need to think about. I'd like to start with a thought experiment. So this is a hypothetical, but it plays out every day across the country. John Doe, hypothetical person, is playing golf in Evergreen with buddies. He keels over. It looks like he's not breathing. One of his buddies starts doing chest compressions, starts doing CPR. Several minutes later, paramedics come and they bring him to a hospital. He's unresponsive initially. He's having difficulty breathing. He's intubated, which means the tube goes in his trachea, and he's connected to a ventilator. And he's unconscious, and a neurological consult determines that he's had significant brain damage because he may have been anoxic or without oxygen for a period when he collapsed on the golf course. A neurological consult further determines the next day that he's most likely in a persistent vegetative state, or PVS, which means that he's not going to regain consciousness. Now, 2 days later, both his adult son and daughter arrive at the hospital. They both have the power of attorney, and the adult son says, knowing that the father has a persistent vegetative state, I want everything done. I want aggressive therapy. I know my father's strong. He can pull through. The daughter says, no, this is not what dad wants. Dad wouldn't want to live like this. What's the hospital to do? How many of you guys, show of hands, think that the hospital should disconnect this hypothetical patient from a ventilator and allow him to die, which is what his daughter feels he wants? How many of you think that the opposite should occur? The problem is, and you're all right, because that's what happens, and I've seen that happen. My background is healthcare. As Ted said, I work in medical centers as a nurse or respiratory therapist. I work in hospital administration. I have seen far too many cases where the hospital was caught in the bind because we didn't know. We had a patient who didn't have an advance directive or a living will, and you had two adult siblings who decided, my dad wants this, or my loved one wants full support. The other one says, no, they didn't. And if the short answer is, in a best case scenario, if our hypothetical John Doe had a living will or an advance directive that said, I don't want, in the event that I'm unconscious and can't decide what my treatment is, I don't want aggressive care. I don't want to be on a ventilator. That's easy because then you have the wishes of the person, and the wishes of the person govern, not their POA. So I want to talk about end of care, which of course the hypothetical that I just went through deals with end of life care. And the idea is, how do we avoid situations where a family is in that really uncomfortable position, and not just the family, the caregivers, the physician, the nurses, and everybody involved. End of life care is really a spectrum. It runs the gamut from home care, skilled assisted living, skilled nursing facilities, ultimately hospice. That list is not exclusive. Just some of the things that are part and parcel of end of life care, and some of the options that we all have are home care, assisted living, skilled nursing facilities, and sometimes there are CCRCs, continuing care retirement communities, where an individual can go from independent living to assisted living to skilled nursing facility if needed. There's palliative care that's available. There's certainly hospice, and just as a footnote, most of you probably know this, for hospice, in order for somebody to qualify for the hospice benefit, which is the Medicare benefit, an individual will have to have a prognosis of 6 months or less, which a physician would have to certify. There's something called VSED, or voluntary stopping eating and drinking, which is legal in all 50 states, and we'll talk about that in a second. And ultimately, there's MAID, medical aid in dying, which Colorado has had for the last several years. Colorado, you may know, passed the End of Life Options Act. In fact, last year, Governor Polis signed an amendment to that, and I'll talk about that in a few seconds. But there have been some changes to Colorado's medical aid in dying law. And I also want to mention, in terms of end of life care, another option which is not on this slide is a memory care unit. Some of these entities are governed by Medicare. So for example, home care, skilled nursing facility, palliative care, and hospice are governed by Medicare. There are specific Medicare regulations and eligibility requirements. In terms of what an individual would want, what any of us would want for ourselves or a loved one, there are legal documents that hopefully could avoid the kind of situation I described in the hypothetical. So there's an advance directive, sometimes called the living will. And we'll talk about all of these briefly, but we'll cover these in the next few minutes. There's a medical durable power of attorney by which we designate an agent, and I recommend an alternative in case the agent isn't available, who can speak for us if we can no longer speak for ourselves. If in that hypothetical situation that I started with, John Doe didn't have an advance directive or a living will, but he had a medical durable power of attorney that designated either the son or the daughter, that person could decide, my father is going to stay on the ventilator, that's what he'd want, or that's not what he would want. There's something called a medical orders for scope of treatment. How many of you have heard of the MOST form? Okay, it's fairly new. And it's similar, we'll talk about that. It's similar to the MOLS form, which is medical orders for life-sustaining treatment. And these are orders that a physician would sign in conjunction with a patient or the patient's proxy, meaning a legal guardian, a surrogate, or an agent that was named through an advance directive or a medical durable power of attorney. There's also something, although we don't have this in Colorado, but it's worth mentioning because the medical orders for life-sustaining treatment grew out of the PULSE movement. PULSE is physician orders for life-saving treatment. It's a document that a patient or a person or the person's agent, legal agent, would sign, and the physician would sign, that would explain, this is what I want. So I think it may be helpful to actually take a look at some of these forms. And by the way, my guess is you probably all know this. A will is not the same as a living will. A living will or advance directive is very different. We have wills to handle our estate when we pass on and we bequeath our property, our assets. That's a will, last will and testament. A living will or an advance directive is a completely different document that deals with healthcare decisions. What do we want if we can't speak for ourselves? So again, the living will and a last will and testament are completely different. So this is a glimpse. And by the way, at the end of the PowerPoint presentation, there are links to all the forms and additional information in case anybody wants that. The medical orders for scope of treatment is a 2-page form, and there are 4 sections to that. And we'll go through the 4 sections. The first section under A deals with, it's real simple. An individual fills out the most form. And again, this is legal in Colorado. An individual who completes the most form with his or her physician, in section A, you're asked, do you want CPR? I do want CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or I don't want cardiopulmonary resuscitation. It's real simple. It's binary. Either somebody wants CPR if their heart and breathing stop, or they don't. That takes us to section B, which deals with what kind of treatment do we want if we can no longer speak for ourselves. Do we want full treatment? Full treatment, as the name implies, is everything. I mean, everything from intubation, which is being intubated and placed on a ventilator if need be, aggressive IV therapy, dialysis, you name it. It's everything that you would expect to see, including all of the modalities that are performed in an intensive care unit. That's full treatment. Selective treatment, which is a lesser degree of intervention and medical preventions, medical professionals is, well, let's say I don't want a ventilator, I don't want to be intubated, but and I don't want CPR, but I do want, if I'm unconscious and I can't express my wishes, but I have the most form, I can indicate on the most form that if I need IV antibiotics, I want IV antibiotics. If that's going to get me through, let's say in our hypothetical, the only thing that was wrong with John Doe was pneumonia, a really aggressive form of pneumonia that required hospitalization. He may not want CPR or full treatment, but he may want a course of IV antibiotics, which is going to get him over the hump and he can be discharged. So that's selective treatment. And you can indicate these are the things I want in selective treatment. If an individual chooses selective treatment on the most form, they can't have CPR. They're incompatible. You can't, on the one hand, say, I want CPR, but I only want selective treatment. If an individual wants CPR, they want full treatment, and that would be the option. And the last option on the most form is comfort care. Comfort care is, as the name implies, and you can specify this, you can indicate things other than what's on the form. Comfort care means or encompasses modalities such as oxygen, supplemental oxygen, if somebody's short of breath, if their oxygen level is low. If they have an upper airway obstruction, which is interfering with their breathing, they're authorizing with comfort care, if they opt for that, for the nurse or the clinicians to use a manual method of cleaning out the upper airway, suctioning the airway. That's comfort care. So now we've covered sections A, which is CPR, section B, which is the level of treatment. It's either full, selective, or comfort care. And that takes us to C. C deals with nutrition. And I don't know, I'm sorry if you can't see it on this slide, but take my word for it. C has 3 options. Either the individual is authorizing tube feedings for long-term or not. The other option would be tube feedings, but for short-term, for a limit. And you can limit that for a week, 2 weeks, whatever the individual feels is appropriate after discussing that with the physician. And the third option in section C would be no tube feedings at all. Section D basically is where the patient and the physician both sign. And again, this has to be signed by a physician in Colorado. It can be signed by an advanced practice nurse, meaning a nurse practitioner, or a PA, a physician assistant. It has to be signed by one of those three licensed individuals, licensed healthcare professionals, and the patient. If the patient can't sign, if the patient is unconscious and no longer has what the clinical term is decision-making capacity, the agent that's named in the medical durable power of attorney can sign this on behalf of the principal. So that's the most form, medical orders for scope of treatment. The next document that I want to talk about that's legally recognized here in Colorado and in all jurisdictions, actually, although it does vary from state to state, which brings up a point that I should mention. If you have a most form and you live in Colorado and you go to another state, chances are that state will follow your wishes. It's evidence of what you would have wanted if you can no longer speak for yourself. Likewise, the same thing with the medical durable power of attorney. And with the medical durable power of attorney, just like any power of attorney, you're giving the authority to make decisions, healthcare decisions, obviously it's a medical durable power of attorney, to your agent. I strongly recommend that whether it's a will, a living will or an advance directive, the same would be true for a will in terms of the administrator. But my recommendation is that you have not only an agent who you know and trust and who knows what your wishes would be, but an alternate. There are situations often when a named agent, years after the document was created, the agent may not be available for one reason or another. So it's prudent to have an alternate named in the document. So you've got the agent and an alternate agent named. My recommendation is to have an advance directive and a medical durable power of attorney. The one caveat is obviously when you have an advance directive or a living will, you're naming an agent and an alternate. It should be the same person. Obviously, in a medical durable power of attorney, you want the same two individuals. And the last comment that I would make, which is equally applicable to both, is that the two individuals that you named to be your agent that can speak for you and make literally life or death decisions should know what your wishes are in the event you can't speak for yourself. Would you want a ventilator? Would you want dialysis? Do you want aggressive care? So again, two trusted people who know you and can speak for you. In Colorado, the form, and I've attached links with a standard form that you can use for medical durable power of attorney. Under Colorado law, a medical durable power of attorney does not need to be witnessed and notarized. On the other hand, I highly recommend two witnesses, not one, two witnesses and notary. I think any important legal document, whether it's your last will and testament, an advance directive, medical durable power of attorney, my recommendation is to have two witnesses and notary. It avoids legal entanglements down the road if somebody's challenging it. If you've got a document that two people witness your signature and it's notarized. Again, this slide simply says that while it's not necessary to have two signatures and a notary, it's recommended. I think it can avoid legal hassles down the road. So some of the legal instruments that we've been talking about, or that I've been talking about in Colorado, are the living will, again, also known as advance directive. And as the slide indicates, it allows each of us to state what our preferences would be if we can no longer speak for ourselves, and allows us to designate two people who can speak for us in the event that we can't and there are open questions. Likewise, the medical durable power of attorney, we're doing the same thing with that legal document. We're authorizing two people, one person and another if the primary person is unavailable to speak for us in the event that we're not able to speak. By the way, I've seen situations where somebody has named a son and a daughter or two individuals as co-equal powers of attorney. I don't recommend that unless you're absolutely 100% sure they're not going to get into a battle and an argument over dad wants this, no, dad wants that. So I think it's appropriate to have a designated agent and an alternate, but not having co-equal POAs, because then could end up theoretically, and I've seen this happen with a deadlock, and that puts the hospital and the healthcare providers in a bind because they're paralyzed until there's uniformity in terms of the agents. So I don't recommend co-equal powers of attorney. I want to talk about MAID, how many of you are familiar with MAID, Medical Aid in Dying? Well, you're in a great group. You can know this stuff. So as you probably know, several years ago, Colorado enacted an End of Life Options Act, which allows for an individual to end their life. There are 4 criteria in order for somebody to avail themselves of medical aid here in Colorado. Number 1, you have to have a terminal illness, meaning you've got a prognosis of 6 months or less. You have to be an adult. You have to have decision-making capacity, and a physician or now an advanced practice nurse can certify that you have decision-making capacity. In other words, if somebody has dementia or Alzheimer's, they can't get involved with MAID because they can't give consent for that. So again, somebody would have to have a terminal illness, be an adult, have decision-making capacity, be competent, and last but not least, currently there are 2 other requirements. Somebody would have to be a resident of Colorado, and by the way, that's being challenged. There are people that want to come to Colorado, so because there are only 12 states now that allow for MAID. We're one of those 12 states. People who are dying and have intractable pain want to end their suffering and oftentimes go to a state or want to go to a state where MAID is allowed. Most of those 12 states require residency. That's being challenged as we speak. Some people are saying that's a constitutional violation. If I want to come to Colorado and avail myself of MAID because I qualify, I'm an adult, I have a terminal illness, and the last requirement other than residency is, and this is an important one, is self-administered. An individual who's going to avail himself or herself of MAID has to be able to self-administer the lethal cocktail. It can't be administered by a doctor or a nurse or a physician assistant or even a family member. It has to be administered by the person himself or herself. So those are the criteria for MAID. Again, terminal illness, residency in Colorado, competent, being decisionally competent to make that decision, and being able to self-administer the medication. MAID is a very controversial topic. I did a presentation with a friend of mine who's a chief medical officer in California for a number of nursing homes and hospices. And we did a presentation at the American Medical Directors Association, which is an organization of medical directors and attending physicians in long-term care. And there were several hundred physicians in the audience. I would say the audience was probably 60-40, and about 40% of the physicians in the group felt that MAID is not appropriate. Many medical associations, including the American Medical Association, many national and state medical associations oppose MAID. They feel that it's inconsistent with the physician's order to first do no harm. On the other hand, there are national and state organizations, medical organizations that do support MAID. I'm not here to be an opponent or proponent for MAID. I'm just telling you what the law is. You know, my feelings are my own, and frankly, my feelings are irrelevant when it comes to this topic. Each person has to decide for themselves what's appropriate. I'm just here to explain what the law is. But I also want to make everybody aware that it's very controversial in the medical community and in the community at large there, which is why there's only 12 states and the District of Columbia that have statutorily enacted legislation that permits medical aid in dying. In fact, there are in several states that have MAID, there is a movement and there are lawsuits challenging MAID, saying it's unfair. There was a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit in California that challenged California's medical aid in dying law on the basis, allegedly, that it was discriminating against people with disabilities. The case lost, but the point is, there are those challenges. Again, the prerequisites, you have to be 18 or over, have decision-making capacity, be terminally ill, be a resident, although some states like Vermont and New Mexico do not require residency. Again, you have to self-administer. I'll skip the MAID facts for now, given that we have about 2 minutes, and I want to talk about the last topic is VSED, or voluntary stopping eating and drinking, which is legal in all 50 states. And I've been in healthcare and health law my whole life, but this is a fairly new phenomenon, or at least the level of awareness that people have the autonomy and can say, you know what, I'm at the end of the road, I'm terminally ill, I can't take the suffering, I no longer want food or hydration. And that's gaining in popularity. Again, I'm not a proponent for this. I'm just explaining, this is one of the end of life options. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this since we're talking about end of life care. The issue with VSEP that I see with nursing home clients is a typical situation is somebody in a nursing home may want, and their decision doctor, they may want to stop eating and drinking and let that come normally, which will happen overwhelmingly in less than 14 days. And if that's a choice of a patient, usually the physician, in my experience, always a physician will provide palliative care. So there's no discomfort for the person. But it's incumbent on the nurses in a clinical setting, like a nursing home, not to come in, or a nurse would say, would you like a cup of water? You know, are you sure you don't want a meal? Because even a cup of water, if somebody's made the decision for VSED, again, voluntary stopping eating and drinking, and somebody gives them water or a cupcake, it's going to set them back. It's going to set the process back, and that does more harm than good. That's pretty much everything that we have, and I see my time is up. The bottom line here, and it's one common thread, is autonomy. The law is very clear nationally and at the state level that it's up to each of us to decide what we want, you know, when the time comes. Do we want heroics? Do we want comfort care? Do we want selective treatment? Do we want full aggressive treatment? So I hope I've given you some idea of some of the choices dealing with end of life. And again, thank you very much for having me. I realize this is not the most cheerful topic. It's a time I was going to get up and tell some jokes, but I'm out of time. So again, thank you very much.
So thank you very much. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Working in hospice for 15 years, I think it's really important to know what is out there and what choices you guys have. For speaking to us today, we as Rotary International are trying to eradicate polio. So we will donate 60 doses of the vaccine in your name. So thank you. Does anybody have like a couple questions we can do real quick?
One of the things that happened in our family is my one son about 7 years ago in Wyoming had bone cancer. And they did not have physician-assisted suicide. And a lot of states don't. Now, I think that's a legal question, right? In different states. And very important because we brought him down here to Colorado in an RV. So that because he was on morphine every hour. And so I think that's important to have a legal thing with physician-assisted suicide.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your comment. Did everyone hear a comment? It was about somebody in Wyoming who was dying, and there is no the term physician-assisted suicide is often used both in the medical community and the legal community. It is a misnomer. This is not physician-assisted suicide. It's not Dr. Kevorkian. A physician is not taking an act, is not giving an injection. Physician is writing prescription consistent with the law. But to answer your question, ma'am, Wyoming is not one of the states that has medical aid in dying. There were 11 states just a few weeks ago. Delaware became the 12th state. New York is likely to be the 13th state. The New York State Legislature just enacted an End of Life Options Act. It's waiting for Governor Hochul in New York to sign that. So New York will be the 13th state. But at this point, you know, unfortunately for somebody who really needs and wants and qualifies to end their suffering through MAID, in most states, in 30, if my math is correct, in 38 states, it's not legal, unfortunately. Thank you for the question.
All right, can you stick around for a little bit? Okay, let's do that. I want to thank you again, and thank you everyone for getting me through my first meeting. It's really an honor to be up here, and I really appreciate all of you guys. And I forgot to say our new logo is Unite for Good. So please make sure you go out, make it a great day. Oh, today is Slurpee Day. It's 7-Eleven and French Fry Day. So make it a great day. Thank you so much.